What's in marketing that we aren't able to crack? What's marketing all about in our AI world? So, we thought it's okay, we could afford it then, but I think in this world of AI, it's very, very hard. It's very hard for so-called traditional marketers to change. Okay. It needs a mindset change. The whole idea of a marketing generalist is coming back into play. These new age marketers, they don't see AI as a threat. We have seen this, we've been in existence for a small time, but we've experimented, we've got people to do this, and we have failed. And I'm not mincing any words here, we have failed in getting, not in our marketing, but to get the right marketer.
The question you ask for that to the marketer today is not about how many emails you're sending. You absolutely don't care about that. You're asking
doesn't matter.
The question like, hey, how many responses we get?
Oh, absolutely. You always stopped at open rates.
Okay.
You never went to responses as a metric of success. Okay. Hey, is my email marketing giving me an open rate of 25%? Awesome marketing. Good morning, Sri.
Morning, Ramesh. How have you been?
Doing very well, thank you. It's been pretty hectic weekend for me.
Okay.
And so and a lot of thoughts as we go, right? And thoughts about how are things panning out in the marketing side of things. That's been my thought process over the weekend. We had, fortunately, unfortunately, we had someone leave the organization.
Correct.
Right? And this is not the first time and that's happening, but it's for various reasons as well, right? In terms of marketing. And so that got me thinking about what's in marketing that we aren't able to crack, right? Earlier, we were a team of 2 or 3 traditional marketing. We got folks for SEO, we got folks for content writing. We had a slew of content writers as part of our marketing team. And there was no direct impact on traffic. The traffic still was governed by the tools that our engineers built, right? And that kind of picked up. And then we decided to have an agency. That didn't work out. And very recently, we also had to let go of someone who we think was not an AI marketer per se, like they were still traditional marketers. So,
Interesting.
That's what has kept me thinking about this entire thing. But if you see on the other side, what's really working is the non-marketing folks are doing the marketing really well, right? And when I say non-marketing, of course, barring me, I'd give myself a pat on the back, but you, being from the product and engineering, you look at some of our engineers, you look at someone who's built our Chrome plugin, they are able to get content out very early. It's even the SDRs, their emails that they have been able to send. So something is changing out here. Something is drastically changing. And not that I want to be dramatic, but what's marketing all about in our AI world, right? In software selling, it's about crafting good emails, having a copy that resonates. It's about putting the word that makes sense. And that's what was marketing. And today, someone like an SDR, even our RevOps, is able to send these emails. So that is what everyone, but not the marketers, are now marketing. Right. So, do you think it warrants a chat today?
I think it's a very, just to be very candid, right? I think what Ramesh is getting to the point is that we have probably tracked different other departments, right, in a startup we're running, but not the marketing team. That's the point we're trying to make. It's been a nagging. We've not figured it out yet. But the irony is that our traffic has been increasing. We have engineered the marketing in that sense. Our traffic has gone to 50K plus, right? Which is itself is a good thing if you look at it for a company which has been launch has been about 12 months, and then you got about 50K traffic.
Absolutely.
Most of the marketing teams would feel proud about it, but the honest answer is that we have not figured out the marketing yet. So, we thought it was a good opportunity for us to basically discuss about that and spill it down.
Literally we had to spill.
But the essence, I think a lot of things have changed. Meaning, just to your point, traditional marketings or marketers are still thinking about campaigns, putting things copy in a very high craftsmanship, right? Approval. They wait for your approval, or they want to get a point of view. So even it took us a couple of quarters for us to even figure that out, right? Traditional campaign first might not work. I mean, you and I don't think about it. We are able to adapt to it faster because you as a founder, you want to do it quickly. I think marketing today is less about being a specialist in campaigning and things like that, and it's more about I would want to put the parallel. I know whether you would agree or not agree, but I would put them in parallel to basically similar to basically a developer. You have to learn to ship fast, experiment,
literally
test it and learn.
Absolutely,
that's
right?
a mode.
Sri is literally spilling the coffee beans here in some ways to get this out. But having talked about it, I'm just thinking marketing as it scaled in every other organization that I worked with earlier, they had a big org chart in itself, right? There was PMM kind of driving every bit of it. There was brand. Once you were, north of 10 million, 20 million, you had to get that. There's the demand gen that I was heading. And then there is social. And then there's marketing ops, right? And customer marketing, of course, that's a different piece. But each team had its own process. Each team were in a silo. It wasn't about customer acquisition. It was funneling into customer acquisition, right? And it had its own timeline. It didn't matter whether it was a month end and you had to get the deals in. It didn't matter if you were running, if it was a new product launch. It didn't matter, right? They would be on their own trip. It's okay, we could afford it then, but I think in this world of AI, it's very, very hard, right?
I think, Ramesh, you're getting the point, right? We tried it. We've been talking about it in our podcast pretty vocally, right? Upfront, we've been trying the traditional way of doing things. One of the things is marketing. We initially started hiring content people, SEO, everybody else in between. I think, the days when, shipping a particular thing took 3 to 5 meetings, bunch of decks, a review loop which went in few days to few weeks, which literally sucked your life out, right? So those things are not happening right now. I think AI in a way breaks the whole structure because one person can now do like multiple things. They can do like the work of 5 people, could do research, could write, could do design, could even publish, and even look at analytics, right? So that is where the problem is, right? Do you see that happening?
No, absolutely. Right? I think the bottleneck that we've been talking about in this case was always about execution. And because execution happened in silo, execution happened in its own marketing department, it's very hard for so-called traditional marketers to change. It needs a mindset change. It doesn't need, you have to think AI, right? You have to say, how can I get this done in lesser time? Right? If you want to bring in that sense of urgency into closing deals, is because that's what matters at the end of the day, is you need to think, hey, how can I get this done faster? And it's not about, PMM will run this. Brand will run this. You got to shrink that entire timeline and say, and that is a mindset change, right? And it's very hard for traditional marketers in large companies to change this orientation because products are built that way. It's hard, right? For a startup, we cannot afford to build that marketing org. And I've come to realize that we cannot have, a PMM team despite the product growing. We cannot have. So I think the whole idea of a marketing generalist is coming back into play.
So in fact, Ramesh, I'll also want to share what is working. Right?
That's
some
important.
Of these things we are seeing. Right? So I think let's take an example of there are certain areas of our marketing, so-called traditional marketing, has worked very well. One of them is basically, let's say, bringing in a lot of traffic to your website. Right? We have grown. If you compare us with a lot of other startups, we're probably on the higher side. Higher traffic growth is pretty solid. Right? I think that's one. Second thing, driving traction on LinkedIn, meaning, you can look, I had no traction 2 years back. I think, same thing applies to you. But today, I think we've been consistent. We're able to drive things. Some of these things are things which is working very well for us. Ability to write content in the product. Traditionally, it was done by specialized product people. But today, that's not even a job of anybody. People are being enabled to do it the way they want.
Absolutely.
So my observation is that I think non-marketers, I tend to believe, because all of these things which we have cracked so far, in a traditional marketing terms, is being driven by non-marketers, right? Are literally outperforming because, they have zero emotion attached to their work, right? That's what I think. They don't care about what they put in outside. They're able to experiment. They are able to experiment faster because of AI. This is basically one of my observations. What do you think?
I think you touched upon an important point when you say they have zero emotional attachment, and that's what they care about, right? You have to, if you want to experiment, if you want to
Correct.
do 10 things, there is no point being emotional. And one of this is very well said by one of our customers as to, because we have an agent that's, I'm just drifting away. We have this agent called AI Creator, right? And it creates ads for our customers, LinkedIn ads and so on. And we're able to iterate really fast. We have 30 designs going in 10 minutes. And the only reason is there is no emotional attachment between the designer and the person's and the demand gen person. You can just keep going. And this is exactly the same for even a marketer today. Like, they don't see, these new age marketers, they don't see AI as a threat, right? They are not worried about a brand police to go after them to say, hey, because you don't know which one will work, what catches. Like, you're talking about LinkedIn, right? LinkedIn is an area where you just throw things out there, you will get instant feedback, and then you run with something that works, right? If you tell a PM today, let's say use AI to rewrite your entire value proposition, right? You can generate 10 cool ideas. You can design your landing page. You can have even an outbound
sequence done.
This is for a PM, right? The first thing that we do, and we have this designer in us, Harsh, who doesn't, it doesn't matter, he's a designer, but he's a marketer. Because today, what he does is, all he says is, give me 30 minutes.
Correct.
In his mind, he has no idea that this is a PMM job, or this is a brand job, or this is a demand gen person. No, it's a mind shift change. He doesn't carry any baggage of being a marketer. All he needs is 30 minutes and he comes back.
So, I think that is very true, Ramesh. I think there is the generalist can basically, who understands business. I think a good example of Harsh is somebody who understands business. I think he started off as a designer, but I would not be surprised, for him to be a product manager one day or a product marketing. It doesn't really matter. In fact, he doesn't even differentiate between these roles, right? But in the meantime, I also have seen, some marketers, right, who basically are still debating whether AI would dilute their brand voice.
Yeah,
correct.
And
what do you think about that?
I mean, typically, I would call them a traditional marketer.
Right?
A traditional marketer will detest anything to do with AI. Hey, our brand voice is missing, our brand tone is missing. Yes, those are important elements. I'm not discounting them one bit today. But the new game that we're talking about is not perfection. Right? It is momentum. You have to keep up with the momentum to know what is a renewed brand voice. What is a renewed, what do people want to see? And you can do this today only with AI. Right? The brand voice, the brand tone, the brand, everything that you talk about is written by you. And so you think that's the best. But you're competing with several others in the market. You don't know what is working. It's tough for you to change your brand voice if you're a traditional marketer. So what do? You have AI write that for you.
But I think, there is one big thing coming. I don't, it depends upon how you look at it. Right? It applies for every role, not just for the marketing.
What is it?
Applies. I think AI is compressing roles. That's what I think is happening, right? Which means that, for example, traditionally, you call PMM, they used to take care of messaging, research, and content. We used to wait for them to come back, and then, the campaign person will run the demand gen campaign. They hold, the skills for creativity, workflows, specifically analytics, right? That's how we look at it, right? If you're a brand person, you wanted to make sure that you take care of all the writings which goes out, content goes out, design goes out, the brand voice, and plus social. That's how, you had actually siloed roles.
Right?
And all of that, I think now is accessible by one person, right? If you're using the right AI tools, right? I think all of this, what I said, including content, including ops, brand,
launches,
PMM, end to end, could be done by one person. Isn't a shift in the way people look at it? Because I think, just one more point, that is where we are struggling to find a person who will basically do this. Because what we think, as founders, and even as our, the core, the founding members, they think, by the way, I can do pretty much any of these things. If you find somebody who's willing to do one of these siloed roles, there is a disconnect. That's what I think is happening.
You hit the nail on the head, Sri. We have seen this We've been in existence for a small time, but we've experimented. We've got people to do this, and we have failed. And I have no meaning. I'm not mincing any words over here. We have failed in getting, not in our marketing, but to get the right marketer, right? The only difference is marketing today, as I would think about it. We created these roles back in the day. We created a PMM role, right? In 2009, 10, we create, or 11, 12, whatever, right? We created a PMM role. We created a demand gen role. We created we marketers are a complete fault. But if you look at this AI way, it's like my RevOps engineer or the GTM engineer today can connect everything, right? He can do the emailing,
Of course.
right? He can bring out the product positioning. He can, help the SDRs with their emails. SDRs are, you don't need to give them any emails. They are super fast. You have to give them a GPT. Right? The moment you do that, you're solving for that already. So basically, I think it's the return of the generalist marketer, but obviously with superpowers. Now these superpowers are these GPT or these AI products. And if they know how to navigate each one of them for what, you have literally someone.
Ramesh, I think let's just take a step back there. So the expectations, you could set what do you mean by that? I mean, I think my interpretation of what you're saying is that I think, let's say you have a generalist person who has interest in marketing. Like take an example of your GTM engineer who's running your campaigns.
Absolutely.
Right? That would have been a new thing. But the person has the context about how you write, how I write, how the brand voices in. But what you started measuring is the outcome. The question you ask for that to the marketer today is not about how many emails you're sending. You absolutely don't care about that. You're asking a question like, hey, how many responses did we get?
Oh, absolutely. Talk about that, yeah.
Right. So the moment you measure outcomes, you become very AI first in nature. The roles merge. And I mean, I think it's like a marketing going back to the early startup days, right? Where what you really worry about is outcome, right? And but this is like with the AI kind of leverage, and it's basically that's what makes the difference. The moment you ask this question to your traditional marketers, I think there's a disconnect.
Oh, totally.
That's what I think.
We have seen this again and again. It doesn't matter what the beautiful email looks like, but one thing is, hey, have you got a response? That's what matters, right? No responses were ever. You always stopped at open rates. You never went to responses as a metric of success. Hey, is my email marketing giving me an open rate of 25%? Awesome marketing. No, it doesn't matter anymore. Are you getting a response? Is what we look at, right? So I think what also really forced this as founders at Highperformr, we are obviously confronting the playbooks. And this has come from experimentation, right? We had an agency, it didn't work. We had the second agency, it didn't work. We had content cycles. Hey, these are the 15 content pieces that's going to be shipped this month, week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. We had a slew of writers. What the heck? It didn't work. It didn't get published. Even if it got published, it garnered no traffic. You had everything done. You had all the SEO stuff. And then the moment we went AI first, we thought about it in a different way. How can we dynamically pull data on our pages? And suddenly Zoom is our product. Suddenly you see 50K, 60K, 70K traffic coming. And absolutely zero spend on content per se. And we're not necessarily we are not necessarily bothered about our next marketing hire. Yes, it's very important to have a generalist mindset for a marketer, but it's not that if the marketer is not there, we're not getting traffic to it.
So Ramesh, just take a step back, right? So the reason why, you're talking about two things here. One is things are working out to some extent, some in pockets in the marketing, and as a startup, you're trying to be
in pocket, absolutely,
But the reason the traditional marketing is not also working is also there's a lot of changes happened in the ecosystem as well. Right? Conventional content writing doesn't fly because the way SEO is working has changed, because people are going to AI to search. So there is also a need for adoption. It's not just that you have AI tools and you can write like a variation of ad copy, or you could write a variation of your homepage. Doesn't mean anything per se.
Correct.
There is also an underlying current where things have changed. The moment we went AI first means you also started to look at things from a point of view. What does it take to be noticed in an AI first world? I think coming in from the outside in is a very, very important aspect of it, right? That's very
I
important.
like the way you said outside. In our recent trip to Bombay, we spoke to a marketer, and she was from the D2C
Correct.
world. She's not
Correct.
and very smart, and that's a lesson I think she is there for us to learn as well.
Correct.
Is she wasn't from a traditional SaaS marketer or
Correct.
AI marketer, and she comes in.
Correct.
She's thinking outcomes. She is thinking, hey, how can we deliver more leads to the sales?
Correct.
Which is very different thinking. Right, a PMM would probably think about, hey, can we ship this page? Can we ship the product? Can we ship the messaging? Whereas this marketer, she's thinking, hey, what can it help? What kind of leads should go to which person? It was the RevOps person who was supposed to think about it, right? But today, this lady was thinking about, okay, these kind of leads, let's give it to this. These kind of leads, these kind of SDR. It's an outcome-based thinking, and that in itself makes so. I think in what we saw is she's convinced that 70 to 80% of her heavy lifting as a market is already being done by AI, and that's not really. And where she needs to probably bring in value is, hey, what's going to be the distribution of these leads?
Okay.
Can she take a call on the strategy and the judgment piece of it? When we talk to her, hey, she's taking a judgment call on these leads should go to my callers, these leads to go to my field marketers. And that's an important call.
Okay.
That everyone was figuring out how to orchestrate these leads. Right? So the marketer now is, of course, execution heavy. AI will take care of that. What's my responsibility? How do I look at these leads and where do I send it? And I think this kind of thinking, because she was not a traditional SaaS marketer, and the company was so pro AI, like everything that they do is thinking AI.
Thinking AI. Okay.
That's looks like a good combination to go after.
So, but Ramesh, there's a bunch of things. One is that somebody coming in from non-traditional AI, for example, we are into SaaS, and then people with SaaS background, SaaS marketing, they come with their own experiences, right? Of course, some of them needs to be challenged, for themselves. But the question here is also, right, there's a new difference. I mean, the new difference in marketing isn't it whether you've been a kind of tenured marketer, or you're a new person or a junior or a fresh, or you basically are. In fact, the most important thing what we are seeing is whether you're from brand or demand doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter
whether you are basically creative, a marketer from the past, or you're analytical. It really doesn't matter. What simply really matters is that, hey, how deeply can you use AI? Knowing which part can be solved by AI, which part is more creative to be solved, versus people who we are struggling with, right, are people who are deliberately avoiding AI. Or there's one more type of people we find. It's common across the board. I mean, it's not only for marketers, it applies for even for I would say developers. You just delegate everything for AI, right, without doing your homework about the context, right? The place where I think at least I have struggled, is that you delegate everything. Let's say I'm a marketer. I delegate everything. I get a fancy copy for my new homepage or landing page. I come to you. You give me feedback. I have no context, so hence I cannot go iterate. That's another way of things happening today. Right? Do you also see that?
I do see it, right? But I think today GPTs of the world are very, with every model that's coming out, they have a memory baked in as well, and the context is held by them. So you need not necessarily worry about that. It's the problem that you think you need. The very fact that you're coming to me and saying, okay, there is an iteration, and if that's a problem, you stick to that problem. You don't have to necessarily worry about the solution because you have AI at the back end. So I don't see that as a big bottleneck per se, but it is about distribution. Even if you get the headline, even if you get your pages ready, how do you delegate the copywriting to AI to a large extent? You got to be a prompt smith. If you just have to give it much.
Interesting. You're becoming very technical. That much I can tell you, right? Marketing.
So that is very true. That's the point I'm getting to. So marketers can become more technical in nature. They become prompt smiths to get their exact copy. And then what matters is think about distribution. Think about how can you put this, because that job is still not cracked today.
So my next question is that where do you think is the future, right? What is happening? Where do you think marketing is heading towards?
I think,
or let me ask you, and you're going to go maybe hire your next marketer, right?
Yeah. The
Tell
next
me
marketer
who-
shouldn't be in the job of marketing.
okay.
Shouldn't have been a senior marketer who you'd hire. Shouldn't have been a marketer for the last 10 years.
Okay. What should they be
Right?
doing?
What I really look forward to
Okay.
from them is, do I have an idea?
Okay. Point of view.
Okay. Do I have a strong point of view? Do I have the powers of execution?
Okay.
Right? I don't care, because they research, they will write, all this is taken care of. I will not be looking at them as, hey, can you research this for me? Or can you write this copy for me? Or can you automate? No.
Okay.
They just need to have an idea.
Okay.
And I think what they should be focused on is distribution. I can create a beautiful, overview video of Highperformr. That was the job of marketer. Put in your idea and get it.
Okay.
But I think it's gone one level out to say, how can I bring it traffic, or how can I distribute it?
Okay.
Right? I think that's where the key is, a distribution first mindset that is needed, not necessarily execution.
So who can
mindset.
use a lot of these AI tools?
Absolutely.
So I think in a way you're basically trying to find, or you think marketing will become like more of the brain plus the leverage. Somebody who can basically put the thought process, put the thinking behind, and leverage a lot of these AI to drive distribution.
Yeah.
And it is less of team and headcount.
Talk about headcount, right?
Right. So that's the new job description for you then.
Absolutely. Talking about headcount, right? It was all about, hey, how can I grow this marketing team to be a monolith that doesn't bloody move? Sorry for the word, but every company, because you were demand gen, moving into a new geography, you are expanding your product into a new geography, attach a headcount who can take care of the geography.
Interesting.
There's no point, there's no need for that anymore, right? You have people taking care of marketing ops, one specifically for email, one looking at CRM integration. None of that is needed today. Okay. Right? Demand gen. You have products, you have, which can optimize Google Ads for you if you are a demand gen person, right? So that's why I think here is the uncomfortable truth. Right? Marketers today aren't even competing with other marketers. Right? They're actually competing with others who are using AI for distribution. Right? A traditional marketer today, if they want to have a mind shift change, they are actually competing with the SDR, sometimes even with the founders, and sometimes with GTM engineers. Right?
Very, 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 very interesting point, Ramesh. I think you've been interacting a lot of companies, larger companies, right? They get into the trend of hiring somebody as the chief of staff for the founder's office. Who does this portion, and then they're trying to fill the gap in running the marketing and all the GTM. I mean, very, very interesting truth. In fact,
absolutely.
The future of marketing looks like isn't specialization, is what you're saying.
Not at all. Right? It is a generalist role. It is about running, at least in a startup world. And let's not go to an enterprise world where things are very different. But at least in a startup world, it's all about execution, which is already being done by AI. You have to be thinking about 10 different ideas and think distribution first, not necessarily execution first. I think that's...
So you got there. You got what Ramesh has in mind. So we are looking for our next AI generalist. So feel free to reach out to us, reach out to Ramesh. But I think this is great. I think speed of execution and distribution is what you think is the power.
It trumps any marketers over here.
Excited to work with the next one, Ramesh. So,
absolutely. So if you think you are a marketing generalist, if you think that you have ideas, it doesn't matter if you have necessarily worked in a AI company or a SaaS company. If you come from a different world thinking scale in the B2C world, please do reach out to us. And we'd be more than happy to chat. That's a call. Definitely, it called for a pod to get this requirement up. But most importantly, if you are a SaaS marketer, AI marketer, challenge status quo to say, how can you get 10 things done, but think about how can you distribute whatever that you've done. That is going to be the way forward for success.
And also, if you want to help two struggling, the founders with marketing, send us a note, and if you want to have comments on what you think about what we spoke, I think this is an area for interest for us. So looking forward. It's amazing chat, Ramesh.
Absolutely. Thanks, Sri.
Thank you.
See you around. Cheers. Bye.